historically, just one second. Historically, it's been our experience that whenever a home invasion happens, that's something personal. Usually, the individuals who are involved knew each other. That's not always 100%. It's been our experience. So, whenever these happen, that's our first clue, so to speak. Now, it's not always 100% accurate. That's our first clue. Talking about how come it may seem like that there's more going on, I think we can attribute that to the social media. Technology has greatly expanded since I've been a police officer, and it's boomed in the past 5 years. The past 2 years, we've seen the inception of Facebook, Twitter, and all sorts of things. So we're actually on Twitter putting out information. So I think the information age may make it seem like that there's more crime and more going on, but in actuality, the SBI statistics shows crime's been down.
Was there a home invasion reported on Dorchester Avenue recently? By recently, I mean the last week. Is it?
Last few weeks. I just heard through the grapevine that somebody, and I live behind Dorchester, so I just...
Yeah, I'm not aware of any home invasion that took place on Dorchester. I'm sorry.
There was a break-in on Dorchester. I think her address is something like, it must be 97 Dorchester, something like that.
Right, and that
came and, yeah.
right, and that might be the case.
You might want to define. Some people might not know that it's a home invasion in burglary.
Right, and in actuality, the classic definition of home invasion, actually, North Carolina doesn't recognize that term. There is no general statute to charge someone for home invading. Normally, it falls under the general statute of burglary. If someone's in the home when it happens, it's a first-degree burglary. Oftentimes, it involves a robbery. And that can be codified in any of those fashions. Rarely, well, never was it codified as a home invasion. We've just actually added that as an option when we code them. But again, as a UCR listing, it's not listed as a general statute or otherwise. So when we talk about Dorchester, there probably was a break-in on Dorchester. Probably didn't fall under the umbrella of what you would classically call a home invasion. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
In the last year, do you see an increase in daylight robberies such as for vehicles and that sort of thing during daylight hours? Is there any kind of increase?
Actually, no. We've seen the opposite.
I want to repeat that if I can.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think the question was, and help me repeat this. Have we seen an increase in daylight breaking and enterings over the past year or so, vehicles and whatnot? I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but generally no. Actually, in poor economic times, actually your numbers, property crime numbers, for whatever reason, it's kind of counterintuitive, but they actually go down. It's in good times when everybody's working and no one's home. That's when they're breaking in and getting your stuff that you bought because you're working.
That makes sense.
It's got rough times. People are home. They're less likely to break in. However, when we're talking about this home invasion scenario, if you will, there are some national studies. We hadn't really seen this yet here, but there are some national studies that suggest that as commercial establishments really harden up as targets, and banks harden as targets, and it's not so easy anymore to walk into your local convenience store and walk out of there with $200 in your pocket. That a lot of criminals actually see this as an easier option to actually do these home invasions, unrelated to the classic example of doing it for drugs. They'll actually do it because it's an easy target. And if they see someone, they see the neighborhood, the lights are on, and the doors are unlocked, and it's not a difficult thing for them to run in with masks and take your stuff and run out. Like I said, I haven't really seen that become an issue around here yet, but it possibly there are some studies out there that suggest that it might be becoming an issue nationally and perhaps here. Let me read my card and I get right back. I got a card. We are scared of the home invasion due to recent occurrences. Is this justified? Will this type of thing happen during daytime hours in West Asheville? I never say never. I never say always. My feeling is if you just conduct a little bit best practices as far as locking your door, keeping your hedges trimmed back, keeping your lights on, maybe a little barking dog, maybe a sign in your window says you're guarded by Century Security, even whether you have one or not. A lot of those things will take care of your common everyday run of the mill. I'm just looking for a fast buck criminal, because they're going to go on down. They're going to go to your neighbor's house whose windows and doors are unlocked, and they don't have a dog or whatever. And they don't have an alarm system. They just want the easy money. They don't want confrontation. They just want your money and they want to go. Not most of the time. Occasionally you're going to run into a head case that just wants your money and they don't care how they're going to get it. But again, I think if you take best practices, common sense stuff, that's actually very cheap and easy. It's as simple as walking up and locking your door. A lot of folks, they'll take the time to lock up when they're gone, but they don't lock up at home. And certainly I don't want to be sitting on my couch and have somebody busting in on me. I lock my door. I want a couple of seconds notice so I can grab something before he comes busting in. And something as easy as locking the door. And more often than not, if they walk up and they find your door's locked, they're just going to go on down the road. So again, something easy. And coming back to you.
My question is, most people don't have cash on hand in their home. And there was a post that said that it looked like it was linked to folks in the service industry that get tips and cash, and it looks like there was a link there. Is that true, or?
Yeah. Did anybody hear that? Okay. He was wanting to know if there's any nexus between service industry workers who may have cash in their homes in these home invasions. And without getting into too much investigative detail on these cases, we haven't really seen that nexus. A couple of them were service workers, and they did have tips and cash on hand, but we haven't been able to make a connection that they were actually, that was the reason that they were being home invaded. What is ABD's policy and future plan regarding the reporting of this type of serious crime? I think that this issue is one of the core questions responsible for this group's concerns. This one's got a bunch of different layers to answer this, but I'll try my best. So here goes. Generally speaking, we don't generally do press releases on every criminal incident that occurs in the city, and we have a lot of them. Again, on a given week, we'll probably take 200 reports for criminal activity. So if I did a press release on every robbery, every burglary, every break and entering, I'd never go home. There's not enough hours in the day. We try to pick and choose what's responsible and reasonable to let folks know about without overly alarming folks either. In this particular case, the connection between the three wasn't readily apparent, and I say that and people look at me and go, "What are you, an idiot? Home invasions, West Asheville." But when we assign the reports out, for instance, we come in on Monday or Tuesday morning. Well, we've had a whole weekend of cases come in, so now we're looking at 150 cases that we have to sift through and assign through the course of that day. Well, I've got 4 sergeants that help me with that, and they sift through the cases. Well, this sergeant assigned this home invasion case, and this other sergeant assigns this home invasion case. Neither the other one knows about the other one. Okay. Oftentimes we rely on our crime analysts to make those connections for us. Now, oftentimes we will catch it ahead of time and say, "Hey, I just had one of these, and there's a nexus there, make sure the same detective gets it." But sometimes it takes a couple days for us to realize the connection. We usually get it at some point, but oftentimes it takes a couple days. So with that said, now, after I've said all that, I will say we do have a crime mapper on our website. It's updated every 24 hours, and so technically everything, those home invasions included, had been reported on that crime mapper site. Now, I will agree with you, if any of you have been to that crime mapper site, It's not the best thing in the world, it's not the most user-friendly thing in the world, and I feel your pain. I get it, I really do. We are looking at some new software that we might be able to invest in. that's a lot more user-friendly, but certainly it's going to cost a couple bucks. And in these economic times, we're going to have to see if we can free some of that up. But we are looking at that option, and hopefully with some of you guys making some phone calls, we can free up a couple pennies and get that software for you. At least make it a little more user-friendly. And not only for you guys, but for us as well. Because oftentimes when I have to research something, when the paper calls me and says, give me the sexual assaults for the last 3 years, and I go, Romando, please, you're killing me. And I'd like to go to the crime mapper, but it's a little not user friendly. I actually end up having to go a lot of times. I'll hand search through 3 years worth of stuff to get Romando's stuff. But again, and of course the crime house helps as well. So an option we're looking at, and we hope we can explore that a little further with your guys' help.